SBC Media.
Welcome to iGaming Daily, analysing the news from the betting and gaming industry all over the globe. Supported by SBC Summit Latino America, bringing together the leadership teams and product specialists from retail and online operators in Latin American markets.
Discover the potential of Latin America's booming iGaming and sports betting markets at SBC Summit Latin America, the premier industry event in the region. Join SBC at the Seminole Hard Rock Hotel and Casino in Miami from October 31st to November the 2nd. Register now at sbcevents.com.
Good afternoon and welcome to the iGaming Daily. We have another special episode today looking ahead to the SBC Boxing Championships in London on November the 10th, an event I really cannot wait for. Today I'm joined by Anna Mackney, Regional Director of Play and Go, who will take on Ali McIvor, the Partnerships Team Manager at Games Global. And I'm going to let you into a secret. I'm commentating on the night, so I probably shouldn't say this, but this is the fight I'm most looking forward to. Anna, thanks for joining me. Thanks for joining us. How are you doing today? How has training been going, and what made you want to do this?
Hi, Joe. Thank you very much for having me on this podcast. I think I'm in a state now where I've been training for a long time, and I'm really looking forward to actually getting to the night. It's less than 2 weeks from today, and it's a mixture of feelings. There's a lot of excitement, but I think now that we're getting closer and closer to the day, there is a lot of anxiety creeping in here and there, because it definitely does feel a lot more real now. And you wouldn't normally find yourself in a situation where you are judged on merit of how well you punch somebody in front of 550 people. And as my husband said to me, which some of the fighters from this year's edition would know, because I've shared that in the group chat, I've been, kind of complaining. I feel like I'm regressing a little bit, even though it's been 20 weeks of training. To which, frustratingly, he said that you are not fighting at the O2. This is not a rumble in the jungle, and I should behave myself, basically. So I felt a little bit down and, kind of felt downgraded a little bit. But I think what people maybe, outside of iGaming and, kind of our circle don't realize, it means a lot more for us than just a charity boxing event. We're there in front of everybody that we work with, so there is a lot more at stake than just sort of losing maybe your face in front of your friends. And also, obviously, it's such a great cause, and we really want to raise a lot more money for charity. But at the same time, everyone has an ego. Everyone wants to win, and like we said previously with Ali, if you don't want to win, ultimately, you're not really in the right gig.
Yeah, it's good you mentioned the cause there, Anna. It's obviously a really good cause, and a real reason for everyone to be involved. The Oliver's Wish Foundation. It gets incredibly emotional on the night when you hear the charity, you hear about the charity and what led to its formation. But that is interesting that you say about you felt like you've regressed over such a long period of training. What made you feel like that, and how have you sort of tried to combat that and get back on the positive path?
I think what I've found to realize through doing boxing for the last 20 weeks, more or less, is it's a very raw sport. You get massive highs and massive lows at the same time. One day you can be on top of the world and feel like you're the best, and the next day you feel like, what am I even doing here? I'm not a fighter. Get out of here. It's one of those, and you can never know how you're going to feel. So sometimes you feel like you want to progress even more, but then you don't realize how far you've gone. And sometimes just the reassurance from a trainer does all the tricks. It kind of actually works. And combats all what you're feeling, and that's exactly what happened. I think I've been completely reassured by my trainers that that's not the case, and I think I'm just being really harsh on myself. I think it's just nerves kicking in. I think it's very human and natural for everybody. Again, So you kind of like want to factor in and premeditate like how you're going to feel on the night, in front of people. Are you going to be able to zone out and not really care about anybody in the room apart from me and Ali? And making sure that you put everything that you've learned into practice, because there is just so many moving parts, so many moving parts. And yeah, like you said, the course itself is fantastic. I'm a mother myself. I've been to the event last year, and I was absolutely heartbroken in the first hour. Just, it's just horrendous to hear that somebody has to go through that. So anything that we can do to help raise more money to study this more, and hopefully help more families, children, and also other charities. We've got 2 more charities in the mix as well. Anything like that is fantastic, and if we can contribute to that, then we're going to be happy people.
Yeah, 100%. It's really commendable that you're all doing this. And as you mentioned about the training there, I think you get the highs of training and obviously the highs of the night. You don't get to experience them highs, really the highest of highs, without experiencing some of the lows that you go through, whether it's just not feeling great in training, or waking up at 6 a.m. to do your running, or whatever that is. But you mentioned your family as well. I wondered if what their reaction was when you told them that you were going to be doing this. This was your latest part of your job is going to be to be boxing, a colleague, or a work compatriot.
Yeah, I mean, I have been relatively active all my life, and I have been trying to do boxing, which I thought was boxing back in the day, and I was really into that, and then kind of stopped doing that through COVID. So when I broke the news to my husband, he was not taken aback whatsoever. He was like, "Yeah, sounds like you, 100%." Not surprised. Not surprised at all. Parents were a little bit surprised, but taking it very well. Again, though I was surprised with that. But it's it's one of the one of those things where you kind of want to have a challenge, personal challenge, whilst you're still relatively in good, sort of at a good age to take on anything that you can. And to be accountable for it as well in front of a lot of people. That's sort of the accountability that can drive you to do a lot of things more than if you would just set a challenge for yourself, like what we normally do. Oh, let's do a dry January after all the festivities, and you normally just kind of like either accountable to yourself or your friends. But when it's kind of a bigger cause, and you're going to be then in front of a lot of people, but at the same time they spur you on. They're like, okay, well, yes, I need to bring the best game on and deliver.
Yeah, there's nothing that will leave you more accountable, because at the end of the day, more importantly than somebody watching you get beat or whatever, if you don't do the work, if you don't do the training, if you don't perform on the night, the worst outcome is you take a lot of shots and you get punched in the head quite a lot. I think that's really where you're accountable in terms of the fight game. But it's really a good thing to me that you were there last year, because what struck me about being at the event was it was charity boxing, but nobody was taking it easy, really. Everybody was there to really put their all in, and there to win, as you say. And also the atmosphere. It was pretty heated last year, the atmosphere, all in good nature, but it was I didn't envy you getting in that ring, or didn't envy the fighters getting in that ring, because it was really a bit of a lion's den. What have you done to, obviously you've prepared your skills, you've picked up the art of boxing, but have you done anything sort of to prepare yourself mentally for being on stage and in the ring in front of all those people cheering and heckling and raring to go?
I'd like to say that I think my job actually prepares me for it, in a broader sense of the word, because I'm client facing, I'm in commercial, I've always been in commercial on the sales side, so I'm naturally in and around people all the time in different amounts, in smaller groups, larger groups, and that job gives you ability to get used to that, get used to speaking in front of large crowds of people, smaller crowds of people, and be sort of in the limelight to an extent, but probably not to that extent. And where you kind of sell the product and, you know, the company and the vision that you have. This is you and you only. It's kind of like a lone game. It's not a team sport. You can't hide behind anybody. It's just you and you only. You can't hide behind your company, behind anybody who's more senior than you. It's just you and your opponent in the ring, and everything that you can do or have learned so far that you've brought into the ring. And as somebody famous said, until you get punched in the... Everybody has a plan until they get punched in the face.
Yeah, and that famous person was the great Mike Tyson. We should give him credit. I'm not sure he'll be listening, but we'll give him some credit for sure. Hopefully, you can emulate Tyson again on the night and get some big shots in there. But it's a really interesting comparison that you make as well, because I boxed from a young age, all through my youth, and when I worked at SBC, I was lucky enough to be able to sort of moderate panels and put my journalism knowledge onto stage and that type of thing. And it does certainly help you in terms of just being able to keep composed and just keep your thoughts in order and regroup when you're in front of an audience and when you're in a high pressure situation. So I definitely think the two can relate a little bit, and you can put some of the skills you've learned throughout your career into this amateur boxing fight or exhibition boxing fight.
Mm-hmm. For sure. But it's sometimes until you are, obviously you've had this experience, so you know exactly what I'm talking about. But until you have put yourself through a situation where you go into the ring, you simply would never understand how difficult it is to kind of put all the moving pieces together, everything, the footwork, the defense, the attack, the reading, never looking away, even for a split second, all of those things at the same time, and trying to understand where your opponent is going, where they're moving, trying to read the openings that they have, sort of the similar things that they continue doing over and over, and trying to use that to your advantage. All of those things, you have to read that and be able to digest that in a matter of a split second. That's not easy.
Yeah, exactly. And whilst you're being punched in the face as well, it adds an extra element to being able to sort of put those skills to the test and do what you've learned. If you can do sort of 30% of what you've learned over this 20-week period on the night, you definitely should have some success.
Hopefully, fingers crossed.
And obviously, you've been training a while. What did you do before this? Was it anything similar in terms of training, or was boxing very much this boxing experience very much your first sort of experience with combat sports?
I have been relatively active all my life. I did basketball at school, which I then stopped because university didn't have a female team, sadly. Then was always active, going to the gym, doing some group activities. I've picked up what I thought was boxing, which was more of just like a cardio boxing kind of, trying to punch somebody, maybe a little bit of sort of touch sparring, nothing to an extent that we're doing now, which I loved. And I've done it for 5 years. But again, I've picked up a lot of bad habits, and I think it didn't really lend itself to for me being better anyway now. Tried Muay Thai for a year, ended up being bruised every single time, so I kind of dropped that. Picked up running, which I hated in the past. Picked up running during COVID just to get out of the house, which we all did, I think, to an extent, and actually managed to get myself into a habit of loving running and being able to actually sustain a 10K run. But when I signed up for this, I loved the training. I loved every single day of training for the last 20 weeks. I think it's just a huge burden now. A huge shout out to my husband, who picks up the pieces daily, because I have been working every single day and then putting a second shift in the ring every single day without fail, maybe like an active rest day on a Sunday. So he had to pick up the pieces of everything. My daughter is only just turning 5, so she's just started school. So everything is on him, bless him. And I think he is at his wit's end now. So he was really looking forward for it to be over. and for me to come back to a normal capacity as a co-parent and, you know, a wife and everything. Bless him.
Yeah. So we are at, just as you mentioned before, we're sort of a little less than 2 weeks out now from the fight night, and you've been training for a long time. You've been training 6 days a week, from what you say there.
Pretty much without fail. Even when we went on business trips, I've managed to either source a gym or a boxing gym. I've been to Gibraltar last week for work to see all of our clients there. Managed to find a boxing gym there, went there a couple of times. So it's like no excuse. No matter where you go and what you do, you still train every day. Even if you don't have any means of training whatsoever, you just go out and do a quick run, sprints, something to make sure that you keep the stamina up.
Yeah, a few rounds of shadow boxing. I love that. That's you've really cut no corners. That's great to hear. It should make for a cracking fight on the night as well. And I guess I wanted you to. I guess we're 2 weeks out. I wanted to say that I guess you're tapering down now, right? A little bit, just starting to ease off, and just you know the hard work is done.
I don't think so. I think I'm going to try to keep myself very active until the day dot. On the sparring, I'm still sparring very frequently, but I'm trying to tone it down to ask anybody that I'm sparring with not to actually get damaged before the fight, because I've already almost sustained an injury in the past. I've had a suspected broken rib, which comes part of the gig. If you spar a lot, and obviously we haven't, you know, we're not amateurs, we're not professionals, so we do sustain injuries. We do get hit. And it depends on like where you get hit. Sometimes some areas are very susceptible to a lot of injuries. I think anybody who's fighting on the night this year, if they haven't had a slight injury in the lead up to this 10 weeks, however many weeks they've put into this, it means you've not trained hard enough. I think, because it's inevitable. You're gonna pick up something. If it's going to be a bruised knuckle, you know, something, you know, off with your wrist, you overextend your shoulder, you get hit somewhere on your rib, anywhere. It happens daily.
Yeah, no, my coach used to say to me, it's an occupational hazard. Shake it off, it's an occupational hazard. And I used to think, well, I think I need to find a new occupation soon, to be honest. And that's when I got into writing. There's few occupational hazards in writing. So, yeah.
Definitely safer.
Yeah, for sure. Where are you training, by the way? I didn't even ask you where you're training. Where you've obviously been on the road a little bit, so you've been sort of working out in makeshift gyms and in different gyms. I bet that's pretty cool. Good experience to see new locations. But also, where's your sort of home gym? Have you got a base?
So, as I started a little bit earlier than everybody else, because I really wanted to, once the official training started, which was 10 weeks out from the fight, I thought for me 10 weeks is not going to be enough. And I really wanted to come to the start of the official training actually not really looking silly. I wanted to already show that I've, you know, I at least learn a thing or two. So I started 20 weeks out, almost like more than 20 weeks out. I worked on my stamina even before the 20 weeks out, because my stamina was in an absolute gutter. I haven't really done much this year. So that took a lot to just build it up, to then go to the first boxing session and absolutely die there, you know, just gas out straight away. I found a fantastic gym, which I didn't know that actually I had 10 minutes away from me, 10 minutes drive. In St. Ives. It's a boxing academy that trains amateurs and professionals. There are two amazing coaches there. One is mainly doing white collar, and the other one is professional, who's my coach. Fantastic, really self-composed. I'm a southpaw as well, and you know he's got really good kind of track record of training southpaws. He's got two daughters who are both boxers, professional boxers. One is in Team GB. And there is actually quite a lot of girls there, which is amazing to see. And it really empowers you to see all these amazing, powerful women that, you know, are able to knock you out. And they look fantastic, and they don't look like they are, you know, super big or muscly. They just look like ordinary people, very obviously lean and sort of athletic, but you wouldn't necessarily put them down as being boxers. And once you go in the ring with them, oh my word, definitely puts you under pressure, because these girls been training since they were 2015, some since they were 5 years old. But fantastic gym. I'm very, very lucky that I've got that. I've put a lot of time into training there. And when the official training started, I also started attending the sessions in London on Thursdays and Saturdays. So yeah, the only day that I'm not training in the gym, in the boxing gym, is Sunday, which is normally where I go for a run or do something active rest.
Nice. That's fantastic. And I think the one thing last year's event was missing was a female fight. And so it's great for you and Ali to be fighting this year and to be hopefully opening the door for more female fights on these SBC charity boxing cards. That must be really cool for you as well, to be sort of the first of these on the card that is a female fight.
Oh, it's definitely exhilarating. I think even through the industry events in the last 3 months, which if we were given £10 for every boxing chat we entertained, I would need to work right now. I'm pretty sure that goes the same for every single fighter that's that's participating in this year's edition. But a lot of women said that they would love to do it. So there is a lot of hype, and I think it's going to, if the event is going to continue, there's definitely going to be a lot more takers now that it's been done. It's not probably as frightening, maybe.
Yeah.
I stupidly said last year that if there was ever a female bout going on, I'd volunteer. So I kind of like throw myself into this a while back. I didn't really understood what that meant. It was just a throwaway comment. I didn't really think that they were going to put up a female fight. But it's lovely to be part of the first one, for sure, to make a statement. And there are a lot of amazing women in our industry. It's obviously been a male-dominated industry for many, many years, but it's nice to show that there are women in the industry as well, and we can also kick ass. Yeah, it's definitely exhilarating to be part of that. And again, such a huge cause, amazing, and it's exciting above anything, really.
Yeah, it really is exciting, and you talk the talk, but you're very much walking the walk as well. And I'm excited to see you walk that walk on the night. Just a couple more, really. I wondered if you could speak a little bit on, obviously, the build up to the event, how much it's got you into the gym, it's got you being active again, and it's got giving you that thrill, giving you that buzz. I can really sense that in your voice. But how much can you speak to the mental benefits of the training and what that's given you, and how much you're going to take from that after the event as well? Are you going to keep, obviously you're not going to keep sparring every day, and I'm sure you're not going to keep on sort of the intense training schedule that you're on at the moment, but are you going to keep sort of some of that discipline and keep trying to take some of the benefits that you've learned from this experience?
100%. I think it's any physical activity does wonders for your mental health. And I highly encourage everybody to do that regularly, especially in the remote workplace that many of us are in right now. It's important to actually go out and get the endorphins into their body to feel happy, because people do get depressed, and our weather in the UK doesn't really lend itself to being happy all the time either. But what I would definitely say is, because we have been training, and I'm pretty sure Ali's been training daily based on what I know, it also, once you for some reason have to stop, like I had the injury, I had to take a week out, I could not simply do anything. That was heartbreaking. And because you are so used to getting those endorphins daily for such a long time, it becomes, it kind of like, it gives you even worse state of depression than you have had before even starting. So maybe do it, not, don't go overboard with the amount of training that you do. Have regular training, regular interval, sustainable for your life. Don't train every single day, because that also, you can find yourself in a bad place as well if you have to stop for some reason, like you get ill or you have to go away or something happens that is outside of your control. it brings you down. It's very hard to combat that. So that was sad place for a week. I didn't know what to do with myself all of a sudden.
Yeah, I'm glad you've sort of fought your way out of that. And yeah, as you say, it's incredibly important to be able to listen to your body as well. And 2 weeks out, I would say, sort of start to ease off, start to build towards fight night. But as we head there, I can't wait for this one. I am really excited. I wanted to get your prediction. How is it going to go down? What's it going to look like on the night? How do you feel it's going to play out?
Good question. I think I've had about 5,000 scenarios in my head. What I ultimately want to do on the night, what I predicted to be like. But what I've realized is I just need to stop thinking about it. I just need to get in there, not have an agenda, not trying to come up with a plan, because again, this is a first fight of its kind for both of us. We haven't fought in that capacity apart from sparring. Having a plan is good when you're an amateur or a professional and you've done this many times, but as is the first one, I'll be happy if I go into the ring and I'll use at least half of what I've learned. I do have advantages over Ali. Sadly for her.
A little bit of height, right? A little bit of height,
but more the reach than the height.
Okay.
I don't think the height matters that much, but the reach is definitely quite broad.
Yeah.
Daniel Beard, who's obviously part of the event, he's 6'6", if I'm not mistaken, and I am 5'9", and my reach is longer than his.
Wow. Okay.
So yeah, it is long. I just need to be able to use it. But I'm hoping that I'll be able to use everything that I have on the night. I had a chance to spar Ali for a round a couple of months ago, and I can definitely tell you it's going to be a fun one. It's definitely not a mismatch. I think she's put a lot of graft in. It's going to be entertaining. She is a good opponent, I feel. So it's not going to be, me slam dunk, come in, job done, over. So, I'm pretty sure she will try to keep me on my toes, and try to aim for my body. I know her game plan. I've got my spies everywhere. But yeah, it's we shall see. I'm very reluctant to say, I'm 100% sure that I'm going to win, because I've been in situations in life where sometimes things go differently to what you expect and then just look silly. So I'm going to give it my all, 100%, and we will see where the night takes us. I think let the best person win.
Definitely. I echo that sentiment. I echo that I'm 5'5.5", so I echo the sentiment that height doesn't matter as well. And I also echo the sentiment that this fight is going to be a very fun one, and everybody should be tuning in on the stream, get involved, donate to the charitable causes, because they are incredibly good causes. And Anna, thanks ever so much. I would wish you a good weekend, but I know you're probably just going to be grafting. You're going to be getting punched in the face. You're going to be doing all that grueling stuff. So, yeah, enjoy it as best you can. And, yeah, I very much look forward to fight night. Good luck with the rest of training camp. And, yeah, thanks for your time today.
Thank you very much, Joe. We will see you there.
Thank you for listening to today's episode of iGaming Daily, brought to you in conjunction with SBC Summit Latino America, being held at the Seminole Hard Rock Hotel and Casino in Miami on the 31st of October to the 2nd of November. If you want to find out more about some of the subjects raised today, feel free to explore any of the sites in the SBC News Network. Happy reading.